Hi guys, I'm Erica Rascon, and today we're going to do a little bit of chair yoga. So the entire session for today will involve the use of a chair, and we won't be getting down onto the mat or onto the ground at all today. So this practice will be really helpful for anyone who has sore joints or sensitive joints, or anyone who has a desk job and you're just looking for a way to sort of warm up a little bit and stay active while you're at work. And it can also be helpful for people with limited mobility. So I hope that you enjoy it. Make sure that your feet can touch the ground comfortably. And just bring your hands to your thighs. Sit up nice and tall and let the eyes close. We're going to start off with centering. And it'll just give you an opportunity to find your breath and to begin to let that breath become steady and even. Root down through your sit bones. Make as much length as you can in your back body, sitting up nice and tall, and let the shoulders drop down the back, away from the ears, and make plenty of space for the breath. So right now, if you find that you're breathing primarily into your chest, see if you can take the breath down into the rib cage area. So you might even feel the ribs expand a little bit as you inhale, and then they'll kind of contract a little as you exhale. And just see if you can bring that breath beyond the chest, down through the rib cage area, and maybe even a little bit into the belly space. Again, inhaling deeply. And exhaling completely, drawing the navel in towards the spine. Beautiful. 2 more times. Final time. And at the end of that next exhalation, begin to let the eyes open gently. And we're going to start off with the warm-up from the top down. So you'll take your right ear towards your right shoulder. I'll mirror you guys, so we'll be doing it backwards. Begin to bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. Drop the right shoulder down away from the ear, and maybe just use your hand as a little extra weight on top of your head. You don't want to pull your head and your neck down, but just use that hand as weight, and begin to let the ear fall even closer to the shoulder without squeezing the shoulders up near the ears. Inhale as you come to a neutral position, and exhale, take it into the other side. First dropping the left ear towards the left shoulder, and then if it feels appropriate, using the left hand as a little bit of weight on the head. About 2 breaths here. Continue to find lots of length in the back body and try not to slouch as you bring the attention towards the head and neck. Inhale as you come back to center. Now we're going to take the chin and bring it over your right shoulder. So you're taking the gaze off towards the right. We'll take about 3 breaths here. Really think about drawing the chin towards the shoulder and introducing a nice stretch to the side of the neck. And as you exhale, come towards center. Take a minute to root back down into the seat, reestablish that good posture. Inhale as you get the length in the back body. Exhale, take the chin to the opposite side. 3 breaths here. Try to keep that steady, even breath throughout the practice in the chair. And the next time that you exhale, bring your chin towards center. And we're going to bring the torso into a twist. So keep the hips facing forward. Inhale, get the length in the spine, and then as you exhale, take the twist from the mid-back all the way off to the right side of your chair. You may take your left hand and place it to the outside of your right thigh or the outside of the chair, whatever feels most accessible. The important thing here is to keep the hips facing forward and let the movement originate with the torso. A few breaths. Let the next exhalation bring your torso back towards center. Reestablish the length in the back body, and exhale, twist off to the left. You may find it helps to bring a little bit of engagement into the core by squeezing the navel back towards the spine just a little bit. That'll create some more space for the twist. And exhale your way back towards center. We're going to take the stretch into the chest. Inhale, bring the arms out wide like a T. And then take them a little bit wider, drawing the shoulder blades together behind you. This helps you to find some space around the chest and the collarbone. As you exhale, we're going to give ourselves a big hug, wrapping the right arm under the left, and begin to walk your fingertips back towards the spine. Give yourself a nice tight squeeze here, wrapping the fingers as far back as you can, and then exhale, release the shoulders, release the elbows downwards, and bring the chin towards the collarbone. You may feel this as a nice opening through the back of the shoulders and maybe a little bit into the back of the neck as well. One more full breath here. And then the next time that you inhale, open the arms nice and wide, squeeze the shoulder blades together, activate those rhomboid muscles. And the next time that you exhale, we're going to take the cross to the opposite side. This time the left arm is at the bottom. Continue to walk the fingertips back towards the spine. And then relax the shoulders, relax the elbows, drop the chin to the chest. 3 breaths here. Again, continue to keep the breaths nice and even, matching the inhalations to the pace of the exhalations. Inhale, undo the wrap of the arms. We're going to take the bind overhead. So you'll interlace the fingers, flip the palms up, and press your palms into the ceiling. Now, if you did this and you automatically lifted the shoulders, go ahead and squeeze those shoulders back down. Let the shoulder blades relax down the back. And really press up through the heels of the hands. If it feels comfortable, maybe even take your chin and your gaze upward as well. About 2 more breaths here. And then we'll take the side stretch. So relaxing the shoulders, keeping the arms extended, we're going to tilt the entire operation off towards the left. So keep that right sit bone, that same right butt cheek. Try to keep it down into the seat rather than lifting up out of it. So we'll keep everything rooted firmly into the seat. Find lots of length as we stretch up and over, squeezing the biceps up near the ears. And exhale, come to center. Inhale, reestablish your seat. And exhale, take it off towards the right. Really anchor down through the left sit bone. And bring it back to center. And then we're going to take the bind behind the back. So we'll bring the hands down, scoot towards the edge of your chair, and that'll give you a little bit of space in the back. I'm going to turn around just so you can see what I'm doing. Well, you'll interlace the hands together with your thumbs pointed downward, and start off with a nice deep bend in the elbows. This really encourages you to open up the front of the chest. This may be enough for you right here. You might like exactly how that feels. If you're not really getting anything into the stretch, begin to straighten the arms and draw your wrist away from the floor and see if that brings a dynamic to the stretch that you like. We'll take a few breaths here, squeezing the shoulder blades together like you wanted to squeeze the juice out of a small orange. And then as you exhale, slowly release the arms, come back towards the center of your seat. And we're going to take a stretch for the triceps. So inhale, lifting up through the right arm. Exhale, draw the right hand down towards the back of the neck. This may be enough for you right here. This is something that a lot of us don't stretch often, especially if we have desk jobs. So you'll keep walking the fingertips back towards the spine, down towards the base of the neck, and you'll feel this opening all along the outside, maybe even a little bit of the triceps here. If you need a little bit more, you can use your left arm just as a bit of support and encourage that elbow a little bit more towards the midline. About 3 breaths here. Try to avoid jutting the chest out and taking a deep back bend to compensate. Keep the spine neutral. Keep the stretch in the arm only. And when you're ready to exhale, release that arm. We'll take it into the other side. So this time it's the left hand that comes up. Fingertips come towards the base of the neck, sort of walking their way down towards the spine. Get a nice long stretch for the arm here, or if you like a little bit more, you can use your opposite hand for support and encourage that elbow towards the midline of the body. The next time that you're ready to exhale, release the elbows. We're just going to take the shoulders into circles. Now this is something that seems like a super gentle start, and I want it to be super gentle on purpose. If you aren't used to moving often, if you're using just very stagnant postures throughout most of the day, if you were to jump up and start doing sun salutations, you might not ever come back to yoga again. So I wanted this to be a really gentle introduction for people who are just getting started, or those who are intentionally looking for a more gentle practice. So we're kind of warming up through the upper body. We're going to do a few seated rounds of cat-cow. So you want to bring your knees about hip distance apart, exactly as we would if we were on the mat. And as you inhale, lift and open the chest towards the ceiling, engage the core, lift the face. And then as you exhale, bring that navel back towards the spine, really engage the core muscles as you arch forward. Let the shoulders come forward, maybe even let the head drop and take the stretch into the back of the neck. Inhale as you cat lift, pulling the shoulders together back behind you, creating a lot of space in the chest. And as you exhale, let it all round forward. We'll take a few rounds of this movement and let it feel really organic. So if I'm moving too slow or too quickly for you, feel free to change the pace. Link it to your breath and make it feel natural. Just keep it pretty consistent so that you're inhaling as you're lifting your chest and face towards the ceiling, a little back bend. Exhaling as you bring it all down, really rounding through the back and shoulders. Move with intention. Link the movement to the breath. And try to articulate each one of the little tiny vertebrae of the spine. When you do that, you're engaging all of the core muscles through the front of the abs, as well as the back and the sides, and it'll be a nice warm up for your core. We'll take a few more breaths here. And one more round of breath, just because I like the way this feels. And next time that you exhale, come to a nice neutral spine. Bring yourself towards the edge of the seat. And we're going to warm up a little bit more through the core. So we're going to do what would be the equivalent of a seated boat pose. In a normal yoga practice, this would not be what you're warming up with. But since we're seated, it's a really good warm up for the core. So you're going to come towards the edge of the chair and give yourself enough space between your sit bones and the back of the chair so that you can lean back quite a bit. Inhale, find length in your spine, draw the shoulders back. Exhale, begin to lean back into the chair, but keep everything in line. So your head, your shoulders, and your hips are forming one nice straight plane. I'm going to turn sideways just so that you guys can get an idea of what that looks like. So rather than sort of rounding back into the chair, which engages the muscles but not quite as much, you're going to want to keep everything nice and lifted and on the same plane. Hinge at the hips, and you'll feel that core engagement a lot more, especially in the lower abs. So that's what we're aiming for here. We're going to exhale as we go back, engaging the abs. Inhale as we come forward. Sorry, guys, scoot back in the chair. And just take that a few breaths at a time. You'll start to notice it's the low abs that get engaged the most for most people, and you'll feel it a little bit higher as well. The more that you keep the entire upper torso in one line, the more core engagement that you get. Now again, linking this to your own breath, going as fast or as slow as feels appropriate for you. And this will be your first option for a core warm-up. If you're doing this and you're not getting as much out of it as you'd like, you can come on to step 2 where we lift the knees. So you'll take hold of the bottom of your chair, sort of gripping your fingers under the edges of the chair. Lift up the knees, bringing the shins perpendicular to the ground. And we're going to do the exact same movement, But as we go back, keep the shoulders and the back in line and extend the legs a little bit. Inhale and come up. Release. And come up. So you have two options here for your core warm-up. The first is to keep the feet on the ground and just do the upper body. And then the second option is to engage the legs as well and sort of bring them into the equation. It's not just for your abs this time. You're getting your back engagement. You're also working your hip flexors if you're using this leg option. A few more times, linking with your own breath. If you start to feel little wobbles and shakes, that's good. It just means that your muscles are working. One more time. And then exhale, let it all release to the floor. And we're gonna come to a seated neutral position. Slide all the way to the back of the chair. Let your back rest against the chair. Let your hands just sit comfortably in your thighs. Let the feet rest on the floor about hip distance apart and return to the breath. One more full round of breath here, just giving you an opportunity to reconnect without letting the body cool down too much. And then the next time that you inhale, let the eyes open and bring yourself back towards the edge of the chair. We're going to do a couple of seated side ab exercises. And this is something that you would normally see on the floor, like you're sort of doing this motion. We're gonna do the same thing in the chair. Again, you have the option to start off with level 1, which will only integrate the top of the body, or to move on to level 2, which includes the legs. So we're gonna start off with level 1, bringing the fingertips behind the neck, maybe just interlacing them slightly, but you don't wanna make a complete hammock so that your head's falling back. So we're just gonna keep the elbows nice and lifted, drop the shoulders down the back, and then as you exhale, you're gonna turn and start to bring your elbow, and this time it'll be your right elbow, all the way towards the left side. Just that little twisting motion to start off. Exhale, take it to the other side. Inhale, back towards center. Again, you're really working to keep your hips level towards the front of your chair. You're not twisting the hips all the way over and lifting the legs, just sort of keeping the hips in front, and that's gonna promote the most core engagement for you. Inhale towards center. Exhale into the twist. If you'd like to take it on to step 2, you can bring in the alternate knee. So you're lifting up through your left knee as you're bringing your right elbow towards the knee, and then you take it into the other side. This will really activate all throughout the core and sides and start warming up through the hips for you as well. Begin linking this movement to the breath, keeping the arms nice and supported by the back and shoulders. And do this as quickly or as slowly as works for your practice today. I'm going to do this about 3 more times. Keep the integrity of the back body. Try not to slouch and fall into the pose. One more time. And then exhale, release, relax the shoulders. Actively push them down the back and drop the chin towards the collarbone. Relax through the shoulders and let the breath bring a little bit of nourishment to anywhere that feels warm and activated. Inhale, look up. We're going to bring the biceps near the ears and work on our backs. So again, you're towards the center of the chair, feet are firmly rooted down into the mat. Try to create as much space as you can between the tips of your fingers and the root of your seat. So you're sitting up really nice and tall. You're squeezing the biceps in towards the ears. Inhale as you find that length. Exhale, hinge at the hips and come forward as if you're coming into a forward fold. We're going to hold here. Root down firmly through the feet. Keep your gaze maybe a foot or 2 in front of your toes and just focus on bringing those arms back for 7, 6, 5, squeeze in the navel to the core, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it all up as one unit. Relax the arms, shake it out. This is a good one for the back because you're bringing yourself into that flat plane and just using only your core to support your arms and your torso. We're going to do that one more time, holding it again for 7 counts. So we're going to bring the arms up, nice, tons of length, nice and tall. Inhale and exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, come on up, and exhale, release the shoulders down. All right, now we're going to take some of the work down into the hips and the legs. So come all the way towards the very, very edge of your seat so that your sit bones are just right on the edge, like the lip of the seat. Begin to root down firmly through that left foot, and then begin to lift up through the right foot, flexing the feet, and then seeing how high you can lift the leg without hiking up through the hip. So keep both of the hips down, both of the sit bones down. Extend the leg nice and strong, pressing through the heel for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release, switch sides. So you're rooting down through the right foot, getting lots of length and support through the back body, rounded down into those sit bones, and then lifting through the left foot, keeping the toes flexed towards the face. Take it as high as you can for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Shake it out, do a couple little circles with the hips. Awesome. And now we're going to bring our block into play. So with the block, we're just using it as something to squeeze, really. And we're gonna place this between the thighs, really maybe like an inch or so above the knees. Depending on the shape of your body, the block may take up most of the space, as it does for me. But we'll wanna be sure that it's not on the knee joint, so bring it up a little bit higher if you have it near the knees. We're gonna squeeze the block for 7 counts or 7 breaths. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, squeeze in really tight, and 1, release. Readjust the block if you need to. This time we're going to squeeze and lift the knees at the same time. So if you want a little bit of support, take your hands, wrap them into the chair behind you, lift up through the legs, continue to squeeze the block for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and fabulous. Bring those feet down towards the ground. You can take your block for now and just set it aside. Next, we're going to work on the calves. Now, the calves are very hard to get a good workout while they're in the chair, especially when we're talking about warming up. And that's just because we use our calves the most when our body weight is in our feet. And if our body weight's in a chair, then you don't really get that. So what we want to do is create a bit of extra weight for our feet and our calves. So there are a couple ways you can do that. The first is just by physically adding weight. So if you have a kid, you could sit the child in your lap. If you have kettlebells or weights or encyclopedias, if anybody even has those anymore, any type of really heavy book, you can sit that in your lap and that's going to add a little bit of extra weight. Or you can just use your body weight, which is what we're going to do right now. In the absence of any of those props, you would just take your forearms, bring them down towards the tops of your thighs, and kind of let the hands hang casually over the knees. That's where you're going to get the most weight put down into the feet while you're seated. Keep the heels level at first, resting down onto the floor, and then just start to lift the heels away from the floor, press the ankles forward, and rise up onto the balls of the feet. You'll want to try to keep everything in line so that your knees and your ankles and your toes are in line rather than sort of going out to either side or direction. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with 10 reps of this. You can always increase more or do a little bit less, just based on what feels right for your body. So we'll start with 1, 2, 3, 4. Really press the ankles forward as you come up into the balls of the feet. 6, 6, lift the heels high, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Exhale, let those heels come back down to the floor. Come back to an upright seat and start to bring your left foot in towards the middle. So you're gonna bring the left foot towards the middle, resting onto the ball of the foot, and then take hold of the back of the chair. We're going to do something very similar to what we just did, but we're gonna lift the entire body pretty much off of this chair. So you'll be lifting your hips and lifting your feet, and that's gonna add even more weight into your standing leg. So you're going to inhale and lift, and now lower down the left heel, lift, lower down the left heel, and this will be 4, 5, you'll also feel this activating in the shoulders and arms, 6, 7, 8, pops and cracks are completely natural, 9, one more, and 10. Release the arms, shake it all out. We're gonna do it into the other side. So this is activating the arms, the shoulders, and also giving you a little workout for the calves and ankles. Yes, dear, don't you see I'm filming something? Okay, so we're gonna take it into the other side. Right foot comes towards the midline. Lift up onto the ball of the foot, root down through your hands in the back of the chair, lift your hips, lift that left leg, and then begin to lower the right heel for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Press firmly into the hands, don't collapse into the shoulders. 8, and 9, and 10. Release it all. Shake out the shoulders, shake out the wrist, and we're gonna start to do a couple of the poses that are a little bit more familiar to you from a normal yoga class. I say normal, traditional yoga class. So here we are mid-seat, and we're gonna start off with our sun salutations. So start off with the hands at the heart center, thumbs pressed into the sternum. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, swan dive and forward fold, drawing the chest towards the thighs. Release the hands towards the floor. Inhale, lift halfway up, maybe keeping the fingertips in contact with the floor. And exhale, fold again. We're gonna hang out in this forward fold for 3 breaths. Let the head become heavy, kind of relax the neck and let the forehead come towards the ground. And then next time that you inhale, we're going to reverse swan dive all the way up and bring the hands overhead, palms facing one another. Exhale, hands to the heart center. We're going to do that twice more at tempo. Inhale the arms up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arch halfway up with a flat back. Exhale, fold. 2 more breaths here. Keep the hips and the knees in line. Maybe you can isometrically pull the feet apart to activate the hips a little bit more. Next time that you inhale, come all the way to an upright seat with the arms overhead. Exhale the hands to the heart center. Final time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arch halfway up, flat back. Exhale, fold. 2 breaths here. Beautiful. Next time that you inhale, come all the way up to standing or sitting upright. Exhale the hands down to the heart center. Awesome. Now we're going to start off with some of the standing series of yoga that you might be familiar with. So we just finished up with our 3 half salute sun salutations. And now we're going to go into a crescent lunge pose while seated. So we're going to start off with good old left leg here. We're going to take that left knee towards the outside edge of the chair. Your right leg then is going to come back behind you so that you can rest the ball of the foot on the floor. Now, if this is too much of an opening for you, feel free to put a bend into that knee and find just Whatever works is a good opening for the quadricep and the hip here. It doesn't matter if your knee is super bent or if you're all the way extended back behind you. It's just finding what's going to work for your body right now in your practice today. And you can switch it up and sort of play around and see what feels good. Now, if you do have the knee bent, be sure that the knee and the ankle and toes are all sort of lining up. You don't want to have your knee bent one way and your toes or your feet doing something in another direction. That's not very safe for your knees, even though we're not putting a lot of weight in this one right now. Just to start, creating some nice healthy practices, keep the knee and ankle and toes all lined up. So we're going to start off with the seated crescent, resting onto the ball of the foot or any variation thereof. And keep the front knee on your left leg lined up over your ankle as well. This may be enough for you. Continue to press the hips forward. Keep the pelvis level. And if you want to add a little bit of flair to it, go ahead and bring the arms up and bring the biceps near the ears. Take a little opening for your crescent lunge for 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Take the bind behind you, fingertips interlaced, thumbs pointed down. Squeeze those elbows and shoulder blades together. Open up through the chest for 3, 2, 1. Exhale and release. And we're going to open up into Warrior 2. So if you have the leg bent, come scoot a little bit more towards the edge of your chair and see if you can kick that leg all the way out towards the side. You're going to open up the hips towards the front short edge of your chair and take a seated variation of Warrior 2. A lot of your weight is still going to be in the chair, like I can kind of lift up my legs if I needed to. But this is just creating that isometric pull through the front of the hips that feels really great while you're in this pose. Bring the arms parallel to the floor, relax the shoulders down the back, and take your gaze out over your left fingertips. For 3, 2, 1. Extended side angle, bringing your left forearm down towards the left knee, bringing the right bicep up near the ear, and just sort of opening the chest a little bit towards the ceiling for 3, 2, 1. Pass back through our seated Warrior 2. Bring the hands to the chair behind you and ease the legs together in front. Bounce it out, shake it out, whatever feels good. We're going to take it to the opposite side. So this time you're starting off by switching the entire torso towards the right edge of the chair and then kicking back through that left leg, coming onto the ball of the left foot. Again, anywhere in between is welcome. Root down, root down through both feet. Feel nice and firm and grounded. Start off here, maybe the hands are on the hips and you're just focusing on pressing those hips down and forward, keeping the tailbone sort of going towards your back heel. And then if you want to add a little bit more, integrate the arms and open the face and the chest towards the ceiling for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, change the bind behind the back, thumbs pointed downward. Squeeze the shoulder blades and elbows together as you open the heart towards the sky for 3, 2, 1. Transition into Warrior 2. So scooting a little bit more to the edge of the chair so that you can get that opening through the hips. And then rest the base of your thigh back down into the seat. So I can lift up this leg if I want. And it's not bearing a whole lot of weight right now, but I'm still actively pulling the thighs apart and open. Bringing the arms parallel to the floor, chest and hips open towards the short edge of your chair for 3, 2, 1. Bringing the right forearm towards the right thigh, extending through the left arm and opening the chest. So you're stacking the shoulders here, sort of pulling that left shoulder back for 3, 2, 1. Bring it all the way up as you pass through Warrior 2. Use your hands to sit a little bit back into the chair and to ease your legs forward. Now we're going to take it into Goddess pose. So you want to start off by scooting towards the edge of the chair so that your feet can comfortably rest on the ground. And then just take the knees nice and wide. Again, this is a bent leg pose, so you'll want to keep the toes tracking in the same line as the bend of the knees. And then the thing that you want to think about here is maybe getting as much of a wide angle as you can while keeping the pelvis fairly neutral, keeping that tailbone sort of angled downward towards the chair, and just bring the opening as far as you can without introducing any unnecessary strain. You can start off here, bringing the palms forward, using the back of the hands to gently press the thighs open for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now integrate the traditional goddess arms, bringing them into like a cactus position. So your triceps and biceps are going to be parallel to the floor. You're squeezing the arms back together, still keeping engagement in the core, so you're not like, wee, gymnastics. You're keeping them back really nice and straight, still actively pressing back through the thighs and the knees, and we'll stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it all back in, ease the feet together. Now, with seated pigeon, it's going to feel very familiar to some of us who cross our legs a lot while we're seated anyway. Come scooting back all the way to the back of your chair. It's all right if you kind of lift up through the feet if you're short like I am. My feet don't touch the ground all the way. But come so that your back is supported by the chair. Again, this is why it's really important to have a chair that supports good posture, because if you're in a really comfy couch and you're slouching, you might not get the support that you need. So try to sit up tall in your supportive chair, and we're going to start off by bringing our left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Keep the foot flexed and keep the sole of the foot very, very active, as if you wanted to put a footprint on the wall that's towards your right. Here, begin to actively press down through that left knee so that you're encouraging a bit more opening in the thigh. Now, I'm sorry, I'm not actually pushing it down. I'm just actively using my muscles to create that opening. So stay here if this is enough of an opening for you. If you want a little bit more, you can sit up nice and tall, hinge at the hips, and start to bring your body weight forward. You'll feel that opening in the outside of the hip. It should feel really good, or a little awkward if you're not used to it. And this is point 2. You're welcome to stay here. If you'd like a little bit more, you can bring your hands in prayer position and use your forearms to add just a little bit of weight to the shins. Again, very important that you keep the foot flexed here, because it helps to keep the knee sort of active and healthy. A few breaths here. Doesn't matter where you are, if you decided to bring the weight down, or if you're here, or if you're here, keep actively using your muscles to open up and sort of press that left knee away from the body. One more full breath here. And then begin to lift out. We're going to take it into the other side. So this time the sole of the left foot comes down onto the floor. We're bringing the right ankle across the top of the left thigh. Foot is flexed, arch is very active, and just sit up nice and tall for point 1. If you want a little bit more, come to point 2 by hinging at the hips, keeping length through the back. If you want a little bit more, we can go to point 3, bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra and placing the forearms onto the shin, and just encouraging that opening a little bit more with the weight of our own bodies. Few breaths here. Keep sending the hip bones sort of back and away from you, lengthening through the tailbone. And keep the breath steady. Inhale as you begin to come up. Release that leg back down towards the floor. Shake out the hips, shake out the knees and ankles if it feels good. We're going to come into a seated back bend. That integrates our legs, our arms, everything that we've been working with today. So we're going to scoot our chair so that we're coming to the side. Right now I'll be facing what is my right, your left. Keeping the soles of the feet rooted down into the floor. Bring both hands behind you with your fingertips facing in towards your glutes. Now, depending on the width of your chair, you may have more or less space. Find a way that you can place a significant amount of weight into your hands and feet, because we're going to be lifting up the hips. So you inhale, start bringing the chest up, bringing the shoulders back, squeezing those elbows together. This will be 0.1 for your back bend. If this is enough for you, stay here, rock this out for a little while. If you want a little bit more, we're going to integrate the hips. So press firmly into your hands, firmly into your feet, and simultaneously lift the hips up and forward. Two more full breaths here. Continue to lift the hip bones up and away. Lift through the sternum also. Exhale, bring the hips back down to your seat. Shake it out. We're going to do that one more time. Now that you know where we're going, you can choose whether 0.1 or 0.2 feels most comfortable for you, and rock out there for about 5 to 7 breaths. So the hands come behind you, firmly rooted down into the chair. The fingertips are pointed forward. Your feet are parallel to one another, and your knees are lining up over the feet. Start off with 0.1, lifting the chest, lifting the sternum, dropping the shoulders back, squeezing the elbows together. Take this great opening through the chest and collarbone. If you'd like a little bit more, press firmly into the hands and feet equally. Begin lifting the hips up. And come back into the steadiness of the breath. If you have a healthy neck spine, then you can sort of squeeze the shoulders and just let the head fall back. Otherwise, keep the neck neutral or tilt the face entirely to face forward. It's all good. Exhale and release. Shake out through the wrists. Shake out through the shoulders and the hips if you need to. Just bring yourself back into a little bit of balance. Bring the knees towards the front. And now we're going to bring the strap into play as we wind down our chair practice for today. So take the strap or belt or tie or what have you. And we're going to loop it across the arch of our right foot, taking the loose ends of the strap into either hand. Press through the heel, extend the leg, and then just sort of play around with the height that feels good for you. You want to get a bit of a stretch through your hamstring in the back of the leg without introducing any new strain. So it's going to look different on everybody's bodies. Find that point that feels good. Drop the shoulders down and back. Keep lots of engagement through the abdomen for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take both straps into that right hand. Use your left hand to support yourself onto the chair and start opening your hips off so that you can open the sole of the foot towards the right wall. Keep flexing through the heels so that you get lots of length through the back of the leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knee nice and deep. Release the strap. And then see if you can just give your knee a little squeeze. In some bodies, it may help to just rest the foot down into the chair and kind of work the squeeze in this way. Or if you want to kind of actively work the engagement of that hip flexor, you can leave the foot lifted and kind of floating. In any case, just give the shin a little squeeze in towards the chest. You can use your strap here also if that feels like it'll give you a little bit more accessibility. One more breath here. And then release. And we're going to take this whole operation to the other side. So we'll loop the strap around the left arch. Kick through that left heel. Really lengthen and extend through the back of the leg. Keep both hip points level and rooted down into your chair for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take both ends of the strap into the left hand. Use your right hand for support and a counterbalance in your chair, and then just begin to open up the hips off towards your left for 5, 4, this floor is so slippery, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, put a nice bend in the knee. You can release the strap to the side, and then squeeze the shin in towards the chest. Again, you can feel free to rest that foot onto the chair if that kind of works for you, or you can use a little bit more of an active stretch by letting it float a little bit and hugging in. The strap here is also an option, so if you're having a hard time bringing the knee all the way up, you can use the strap to sort of put it across the front of your shin or maybe the top of the ankle and just sort of encourage it back a little bit. Yogi's choice. A few more breaths here. And exhale and release. And we're going to come into our final twist. So come towards the middle of your chair and then cross your legs. Hey. And from here, with your sole of the resting foot, right now I have my left sole of the foot on the ground, my right leg is crossed over. We're gonna find a little bit of length. And then as you exhale, twist off towards your right. Now you see that I have my back arm draped against the back of the chair. That's completely optional. Take as much or as little twist as feels comfortable in your body without really opening up the hips or like overexerting that mid-back. One more full breath here. Exhale and release. Change the cross of the leg. So this time I'll have my right sole of the foot on the ground. My left leg is crossing over. Inhaling to get the length in the back body. Exhaling, I'm twisting off towards the left. My right hand is coming towards the outside of my left thigh. And you have the option to sort of drape the other arm across the chair if that feels good. Keep both hip points level towards the short edge of your chair. Beautiful. Let that next exhalation unwind the body. And we're going to come into a little pranayama. Now, sometimes I would actually do the pranayama after my shavasana, but since I'm not going to record shavasana because me sitting in a chair for 5 minutes is kind of weird, I'm going to go straight into the pranayama for you all. So come back to a comfortable seat in the chair so that your back is supported, the legs are supported, and just kind of let the knees and the thighs fall open naturally. We're going to start off with alternate nostril breath. I prefer this mudra. Some people do it differently. But you'll use your index finger and your middle finger and place them right in the position between the brow that a lot of us associate with the third eye. You'll use your thumb and your ring finger to alternately open and close nostrils. So we're going to start off by closing the right nostril and inhaling through the left. And then as you exhale, switch that you're closing off the left nostril and exhaling through the right. Inhale through the right nostril. And then exhale through the left nostril. You only switch nostrils when you have your lungs full of air, so that's a helpful tip. Inhale through the left. Switch and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Switch and exhale through the left. Keep this pattern going in a way that feels natural to you in terms of pace. A few more breaths here. Prepare to end this pranayama practice by exhaling through the left nostril. And once you've completed that exhalation through the left side, bring the hands to the thighs, let the chin rest towards the collarbone, and just return to your normal breathing pattern. Let the shoulders and arms relax. And come back to a neutral breath.